they'll come up behind you. This one man followed us last night.
So be careful because it's out of their hands, like they can't do nothing.
Let's start with consider the source, which is Tucker. No, I think that's fair.
Do you want to see the pictures?
I've seen it, but let's consider the source, which is starting with Tucker Carlson and Fox News. They're never going to portray our city in a favorable light.
Vagrants living in the terminals, sleeping by the baggage claims in one of the biggest and most famous airports in the world. As one custodian at O'Hare put it, it's out of control. None of us feel safe.
Chicago's O'Hare International Airport completely overwhelmed with homeless people, sparking serious safety concerns among staff and passengers who say that they've been followed, they've been harassed.
As we walk through the airport, the fourth largest airport in the United States, we've seen this beautiful gateway to Chicago been overrun by the homeless, where every night 200 to 300 homeless individuals come off public transportation and set up encampments here in baggage claim and throughout all 5 terminals.
But what is security doing? What are the standards? And why is this because someone snapped a few photos and complained on Twitter that they're like, oh, we'll contact our security team? Well, no, your security team should have already had some policy in place that said, hey, you can't live here.
You know, they're not just urinating in the hallways, they're taking baths in the toilets. They're making a mockery of what Chicago is here. And we understand that homelessness is a problem we must address, but making O'Hare Airport a homeless shelter for hundreds of people on a daily basis.
Staff there say there have been increased reports of visitors being harassed.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the biggest swinging you-know-what in Chicago, right? And that's not my words. That is Lori Lightfoot's words, okay? That is what she says. As she's getting a whole lot of backlash for the homelessness problem that has showed up at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Again, I think O'Hare is like the 4th biggest airport in the United States. And apparently you got homeless people sleeping everywhere, okay, in that airport. And it's causing a whole lot of problems, right? Again, this is par for the course when it comes to cities being ran by liberal mayors. Again, I don't understand how Democrats have such a stranglehold on these cities in regards to the people they're voting for them, because again, all of these cities ran by Democrats really have been run into the ground. But hey, it is what it is. I don't live in one of these big liberal cities for a reason. So with that being said, Lori Lightfoot was confronted about this problem, and she basically deflects by saying that this problem is basically a creation of Fox News and Tucker Carlson and the right-wing media. Take a look.
Last night, Tucker Carlson, Fox News, and the Daily Mail featured the homelessness, the encampments that are growing at O'Hare Airport, and all the baggage claims, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Mm-hmm. Anywhere from 200 to 300 people a night are sleeping there, even when the weather is not inclement. Pictures like this, people don't know if they're stepping over bodies or people sleeping on the floors. What are you doing about it?
Well, let's start with consider the source, which is Tucker. No, I think that's fair.
Do you want to see the pictures?
I've seen it, but let's consider the source, which is starting with Tucker Carlson and Fox News. They're never going to portray our city in a favorable light. My understanding is those pictures are quite old, but the fact of the matter is we have taken and will continue to take the steps that are necessary to move people out of the airports. The airports are a very different place than on the street under an underpass. It's a secure location, and the message is clear from me to the Department of Aviation, the police department up there. We absolutely fundamentally cannot have people sleeping in our airports who are homeless. That is unacceptable. And so we're going to continue within the bounds of the law to do what is necessary to provide those folks with support, but elsewhere. They can't be in our airports.
So you're admitting that the so-called right-wing media is right, right? They're correct in their reports. Because at the beginning of her answer to this question, she suggested that, well, those reports aren't true because it came from Tucker Carlson and Fox News, who, according to her, would never show Chicago in a positive light, which, I mean, I'm curious, what about Chicago is positive that we can talk about, right? I can't think of anything about Chicago that I can say off the top of my head that is positive, right? Based off the news that we routinely get out of that city. Again, it's amazing. Just because it's on Fox News and Tucker Carlson reports on it, that doesn't mean it's not true, right? That doesn't mean it's not true. Okay, I mean, that would be as silly as me saying that just because CNN reports on something, that means that it can't be true. Okay, there's a whole lot of fake news on CNN. Okay, don't get me wrong, but I just can't discount something that is said on CNN as untrue simply because it came from CNN. You have to look at the claim, okay? You have to evaluate the merits and the evidence behind the claim, and then you can come to a conclusion about whether or not it is true. In this situation, you have evidence, right, that, hey, Chicago has a homeless problem in its airport, okay? You got people squatting in the airport, okay? And it is a problem, right? And it's a direct reflection on how poorly Lori Lightfoot is running this city, okay? You know what else is a reflection of how poorly Lori Lightfoot is running the city? Her poll numbers, right? As Chicago's mayor race is just a few weeks away, and, she's not doing good. In fact, she's actually getting destroyed in the polls. She might not even make it to the runoff. Take a look.
Guys, with 11 days until Election Day, the race for mayor shows only 5 of the 9 candidates who are polling in double figures, and the number of undecided voters is shrinking. What's unclear, though, is how much the race might change between now and February 28th. Paul Vallas heading down the home stretch in the race with his polling numbers continuing to grow. The latest independent poll by Victory Research shows Vallas in front with 22.8%, followed by Lori Lightfoot at 17.1%, and Brandon Johnson just a point behind her. Chuy Garcia and Willie Wilson round out the top 5 with no other candidate in double figures.
I think Paul has solidified himself as the front runner in the race with his message of law and order.
But Vallas now fending off new criticism because of his endorsement from the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police. The FOP inviting members to a scheduled visit by Florida Governor and presumed Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, who is coming to Elmhurst on Monday, President's Day, to meet behind closed doors with law enforcement members. Jesus Chuy Garcia campaigning today on the north side, denouncing the visit and attacking Vallas.
Obviously, it's meant to have some sort of a political impact in Chicago, but it certainly raises the questions again about whether Vallas is a trustworthy candidate, whether, as he claims, he's a lifelong Democrat.
In a statement, Vallas distancing himself from DeSantis, saying, "I wholeheartedly agree with Governor Pritzker that there is simply no place in Chicago for a right-wing extremist like Ron DeSantis, and I am disappointed in FOP leadership for inviting him to speak to officers." Rod McCullough says his polling shows Johnson could be the sleeper candidate in this race, and while the polls show Lightfoot losing the runoff to any of the other top 4 candidates, he offered this insight.
I don't believe the mayor is in the front running right now, but I do think that she's viable to be in the runoff. I do believe that. And for people who discount her, do so at their own peril.
With Lightfoot suffering from low favorability numbers, the poll also asked voters if there was any one candidate who they definitely would never vote for. The highest number, 54% of the respondents, said Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Judy.
All right, we're good.
Damn, right? Damn. 54% of respondents for the poll said that they would never vote for Lori Lightfoot. I don't think she has a chance, right? She does not have a chance, okay? And she knows it, because she's desperate. And one of the more desperate moves that she pulled that she's getting a whole lot of backlash from, right? Actually, she's getting some left-wing backlash for this, okay? I love it when the woke eat themselves. But she came out and she suggested that if you don't vote for her, then you shouldn't vote at all, right? That's literally what she was saying to a crowd of mostly black folks. If you don't vote for me, then don't vote. Take a look.
Decision 2023. Current Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is under fire tonight for comments that she made while campaigning today. Her opponents are criticizing her for seemingly telling black voters to vote for her or not at all.
Any vote coming on the side for somebody not named Lightfoot is a vote for Chuy Garcia or Paul Vallas. That's it.
These comments made by Lori Lightfoot during her Southside rally Saturday have raised questions about voter suppression. Lightfoot spoke before predominantly black supporters, naming the only white and Latino challengers who are considered frontrunners in the race.
If you want them controlling your fate and your destiny, then stay home. Then don't vote.
The mayoral challengers reacted, condemning Lightfoot's remarks. Congressman Chuy Garcia commented, saying, "This is disqualifying rhetoric for anyone hoping to lead a Chicago that is a multiracial and multi-ethnic city." Mayoral candidate and businessman Willie Wilson responded, suggesting that African Americans stay at home or don't vote is voter suppression and takes a page from the Jim Crow South. While Cook County Commissioner and mayoral candidate Brandon Johnson stated, Lori Lightfoot telling residents not to vote unless they vote for her shows that she cares more about maintaining power for herself than empowering communities or getting things done for the people of our city. Entrepreneur mayoral candidate Jamal Green responded, saying, these statements are a suppression of democracy. Every Chicagoan should go to the polls and cast their vote, whether for him or any other candidate. North Central political science professor Stephen Maynard Caliendo thinks Mayor Lightfoot is saying two things. It's a three-person race, so voting for any of the other six is essentially a wasted vote. And it's essential that people go out and vote for her, because if they stay home or vote for one of the other six, it's the same as voting for Garcia or Vallas.
All right, so we did reach out to Lori Lightfoot's campaign for clarification and or a response to the other candidates' reactions to her remarks today. A campaign spokesperson said in part, the mayor urges every Chicagoan to exercise their rights and get out to vote. The stakes of this election are high, and Chicagoans should take action to make sure we keep moving forward on the economic progress she's led on the south and west sides. Now, if you would like to hear Mayor Lori Lightfoot's entire speech, we have that for you on our website. Just go to NBCChicago.com.
Yeah, so don't y'all love how the Democracy-crats turn against each other, right, with their own rhetoric, okay? Lori Lightfoot, who's a part of the whole, our democracy's under attack crusade, right, against the Republicans, went out and basically told people, hey, if you don't vote for me, then don't vote, right? You might as well not vote if you're not voting for me, which the Democrats quickly came out and said, hey, this is voter suppression, right? You're suppressing people's votes by basically telling them not to vote if they're not voting for you. Again, amazing, right? Absolutely amazing how they eat themselves. And I can't think of anybody that deserves this more than Lori Lightfoot, who, again, is so arrogant, okay? She feels like she has the biggest penis in Chicago, right? I didn't say that. She said that, okay? Allegedly, that's what she said. And this is what she deserves. It really is what she deserves. She's a threat to democracy, right? For telling people not to vote, okay? She is engaging in voter suppression, right? That's what she's doing. But, yeah, it's not looking good for her, okay? She has crisis after crisis after crisis. And, you know, she's gotten desperate to try to deflect away from those crises. I mean, I remember when she banned William J. Kelly, okay, who was a conservative journalist, from press conferences. Right, because she didn't like the fact that he was exposing her and how bad of a job that she's doing as mayor of that city. She basically got rid of the guy, right? Revoked his press pass. And now look at where she's at, right? She's on the verge of basically losing the mayor race. Just saying. I mean, look, you can try to suppress, you know, people's opinions and free speech all you want, but the results speak for themselves, right? A lot of people are sick and tired of what's going on in Chicago and what's happening, whether it be from the homeless crisis in the airports to the crimes and, you know, the inner city. Lori Lightfoot has not done a great job running that city, and it looks like she's on the way out, right? Which is, you know, bittersweet for me because I won't be able to make videos about her anymore, making fun of her. But it's good for the Chicagoans if they get somebody better. Who knows? These people, these Democrats probably vote for somebody worse. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.